Hi, I'm Atreyee Majumder. I teach sociology at the National Law School of India University. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about a reading group that I'm faculty advisor for. This reading group is run by students with some leadership from me. We call it Out of Syllabus. Out of Syllabus started about a year and a half ago when I finished teaching my first term of Sociology 2 at the NLS. The second years actually, for the first time as I had come in. And there was some enthusiasm among students to take up issues and themes and questions which were not related to the law at all. And I per se was very interested in social theory, and I asked a couple of students if they would like to start a reading group where we read a number of things, disparate things, different things, diverse things that have nothing to do with the law. We started with a disparate series of articles, journal articles, which were speaking to themes as diverse as terrorism or difference or the Anthropocene and climate change. A large repertoire of themes and questions were covered. At some point we discussed and we said that we needed some focus. And then we started reading Lefebvre's book, Production of Space, from start to finish throughout the term, just about 50 pages each sitting. We were initially thinking that we'd do one book per term, but we decided against it. Since the last term onwards, we've been doing themes to which we have strung together a series of 5 texts per term. So last term we picked the history of the West, how this idea of the West arises in a number of philosophical texts beginning from 33 CE and ending in 1868. We read 5 texts. And this term, we read 5 texts to speak to the theme of on the post-colony, the non-West. How does the idea of the non-West emerge? And we picked 5 texts that are speaking to those questions, beginning with Gramsci's On the Southern Question, where he says that the southern Italy is different from northern Italy and is a subject of exploitation by the richer and more prosperous northern Italy. From then on to Marx's Jewish Question, and we ended by the Kenyan literary theorist Ngugi wa Thiong'o, his famous essay Languages of African Literatures. And we ended this term with questions and discussions about what it means to be an Anglophone English-thinking student or faculty in the NLS in Bangalore, consuming a lot of Western philosophy and not finding it speaking to our realities very neatly, very clearly, very smoothly. Even though these readings and these discussions have nothing to do with the law, I think that they definitely help their preparation for classroom discussions, for more rigorous academic work within the law, as it hones critical thinking skills. And critical thinking skills are something that most classrooms in the National Law School use in some capacity or the other. I hope this group and our practices of reading and discussion will over time become a completely student-run and student-enthused enterprise.
My experience with Out of Syllabus has been amazing because even though National Law School is ultimately a law school, and therefore most of our subjects, especially after the second year, tend to be dominated by the law. In my first year itself, I got very interested in the social sciences, and Out of Syllabus for me essentially acts like a space where I get to keep my interest in the arts and the humanities alive. I get to read a Hegel or a Kant or a Derrida, which we'll read next term, every fortnight, and then just be with a group of people who are like-minded and sit in a room for 45 minutes to just talk about the text at hand. So that has been particularly interesting and enriching for me. Most of us, in fact all of us, don't get an exposure to reading complex texts till high school. And then you come into a first year classroom and you're reading like anthropologists and like political scientists in your BA classrooms. And I think in social sciences what I've learned over these 2 years is that you need to stay with the texts even if you don't understand them, right? And a lot of times what happens in these sessions is that none of us actually understand what this person is saying, but we still get together and break our heads together over the text. And I think that process has, of course, helped me. Like, I can make better sense of what is happening in a sociology classroom, because I'm also reading similar kind of stuff in these sessions outside the class. So I think OS is first and foremost a very deeply personal space and experience for me. Beyond the academic and intellectual fulfillment which it gives me, I think it definitely allows me and even others to meet people across programs, because the Out of Syllabus is open to all batches across all programs. There is no registration required. You just need to show up at the venue, which I make sure to send to the student body 1 week in advance. And it has allowed me to meet people from other programs, academic fellows and other faculty sometimes also come to these sessions. So it also allows you an opportunity to listen to their ideas and meet them. So the way our model works is that we choose volunteers at the beginning of each term to present these texts. And that gives you an opportunity to lead the discussion, which you might not be able to do in a classroom.